Hello, everybody. Welcome to Impact Hub Houston Live today. We are going to be chatting with a couple of experts soon for tech tools and tips about digital marketing efforts for small business owners. I am coming to you live and also in person here. So, hi, everybody, here in person at the Impact Hub Houston Launchpad office space. Here, let me go ahead and add. There are our experts. We've got Cami Hoyce and Jose Avalos today, who will be sharing all the things about tech tools and tips. And I am your moderator and host today. And when I'm going to go ahead and ask our guests, our experts, to briefly introduce themselves. Cami?
Hi. Oh, yeah, I need my little mic. This is the coolest thing ever, first of all. Okay, so my name is Cami Hoyza, and I am the CEO and founder of Zoetica Media, which is a social media marketing agency here in Houston. And also, I'm the founder of Social Media Breakfast of Houston, and we meet right here the second Friday of every month at 8:30 a.m., and we do social media and business tips and tools all the time. So we bring in great speakers who know what they're talking about and have done these things to help you make your social media better. And it's free. So that's the best part too. So yeah, that's it.
Hey, everybody. My name is Jose Avalos. I'm the creative director for my agency called Primagen Media. We do a lot of digital marketing, heavy on graphic design, all types of marketing collateral. I'm also the co-founder for a new organization called Tech23, which is a media and entertainment company for the advancement of Latinos in tech. The name comes from the 22 Latin American flags that represent Latin America, plus the 23rd flag, which is the United States one. And we talk about the 23rd Latino, which is the Latino here in the United States, and we're focusing on tech and how being in the United States influences wherever your original flag is from. So we're really excited about that, and we'll get to highlight lots of different technology and people in tech, what they do, and how it is that they got there, and maybe make it a little easier for other Latinos to get into a similar role.
That is awesome. And so, for everyone who is tuning in with us out there on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, or the Twitterverse, please feel free to drop a comment and let us know that you are attending. And if you have any questions as we're going along in this conversation, again, please feel free to drop it there. And we'll also make sure that our experts get the questions to you. So, let's get started with the conversation. What is kind of the bare bones minimum that I need to start off with as a small business owner to attract my future customers, prospects, and those that I want in my community? Cami?
Yeah. So first of all, I think the most important thing, we're going to be talking about tools this whole time, but the most important thing are people. So people have to come before tools at all times. And so really the tools should be in service to your relationships with people. And that's what social media does for you very well, is it gives you a chance to connect with people you would not be able to connect with otherwise. As an example, we had the guy who runs all of Skittles, Twitter, and all of their social media channels be a guest for Social Media Breakfast in Houston because of conversations and connections through Twitter. So you're going to meet people that you would literally never be able to meet otherwise. So start with people. And along that lines, definitely I would say that, and I've got a couple of things here. I'm supposed to be talking about ads. So I'll start with ads. You need to have really great content, first of all. And I think we're going to talk more about that. You're going to talk about other tools for that. But for your regular social media, you should be using being out there every day and connecting. And so one of the things, like, for example, that Anne is using today is StreamYard. She's multi-streaming to multiple different channels. That's a great tool. And also things like Hootsuite and those kinds of things. So in that, I also looked up for you, there's actually a really great ad platform I've been using called AdYouNeed, AdYouNeed. So advertising is a really kind of critical if you're a business on social media these days, because the algorithms are depreciating a lot of the content that is just organic. And so you're going to want to think about an ad strategy to go along with your social media strategy. AdUnit is really cool because you can run ads there for both Facebook, Instagram, and Google, and they're also adding things like Pinterest and some others like that are coming up, so from one platform. So that may be one way to go. But but at bare minimum, think about Instagram and Facebook. I know it seems like Facebook's kind of dying, sort of, but it's not. I mean, there's still pretty much everybody's on it, right? So in that, think about those two, because if you run a really great campaign, say $5, $10 a day, that's ongoing, that runs to, say, a downloadable, we'll talk about that in a minute, or something like that, that people are constantly getting on your list, and you're constantly then nurturing that list, and then those people eventually become clients. What's not great is like the DMs, like going out and going, hey, I got this thing. Thanks for following me. Now here's where you don't do that. Yeah, Anne, don't do that, right? No, I pretty much block people that do that. And so, yeah, that's not the way to go. But relationships first. How can you add something to that channel? And then the final thing is pick one or two. You're one person, unless you have a team, you really can only feasibly run one or two social media channels, and also do your work, and also run your business and pay your employee, whatever. It's just impossible. And the people that set themselves up to fail like that, it's bad. You can have like, hey, have all of the profiles up. That's fine. But make sure that you're engaging very regularly on one or the other. And if you're running ads on Instagram or Facebook, that's probably where you need to be. LinkedIn is also another great place, but that's for B2B. All right, I'm going to shut up now. What's next?
Thank you, Cami, and thanks for yes, I'm a little thrown off from my notes and what we were talking about, because I'm doing extra duty today as moderator that I wasn't expecting. So you mentioned social ads, right? So of course, social ads kind of start with social media, and you mentioned yourself that it starts with people, and that's what social media is all about, and it's got the word social in it, right? And so, of course, most small business owners know that you need to be on social media. It's just a matter of where. Well, where are you going to find your people? Where are you going to find your community? Just because it exists doesn't mean that you have to be on it, right? So probably Facebook if you're a B2C, Facebook, Instagram if you're B2B, LinkedIn, as you mentioned, Twitter, to me, kind of works for both types of clients that I have. But first and foremost, figure out where your community is going to be, and then choose one or two and really focus on that. But as a small business owner, as you mentioned too, you wear 17 or 23 hats, right? All the hats. So how are you supposed to manage all this? I have a couple of personal social media management tool favorites, but let's chat about what you recommend.
Yeah. So we use Content Studio for our brand, but there's a lot of great ones out there. We work with a lot of big brands too, and so I'm not going to give you some of the ones that we use for them. Like, we have some very big ones that we use, but I do like that. Hootsuite is still a very viable plan to use, and that's a really great way for you to have whatever you get. Though there's so many tools out there, look for one that has an inbox, that has an integrated inbox. So if you're running more than one or two channels, you can go to that one inbox and see what everybody is saying, and so that gives it streamlines it. You can go in there like once or twice a day. And that's what we do. We do this for brands all the time. We go in once, 3-4 times a day, and we just answer all the comments and so on. And so, yeah, you definitely want to have a tool. So I don't know. I like that.
No, and I agree with you. And I personally use Agora Pulse, but it can be more robust than what small business owners need. They do have a great free trial version. But if you're only sticking with, say, Facebook or Instagram, you can manage everything through Business Suite in Facebook now too. You can create for both Facebook and Instagram on there. So again,
and they even have a calendar on Business Suite now too. So I mean, that is a great, if that's all you're doing, 100% it's free. It's free, and you can kind of run everything from there.
Yes,
so good.
You won't have to have that additional budget spend of a social media management tool. But as Cami mentioned, Hootsuite, Buffer,
Planoly is another one.
Is another one that's great for small business owners. Later is also budget friendly. I'm not exactly keen on the UI, the user interface. It's not real intuitive. But again, if you're
Agora Pulse did just add a like for Instagram, they just added a little wall kind of thing, so you can see all your stuff. What do you call that?
The carousel.
Well,
yes.
They added that so you can see like your Instagram. So if you like the grid, thank you, the grid. They added the grid, which is great. So Agora Pulse added that grid that lets you see if you want your Instagram to be pretty. Unfortunately, it's been taken over by Reels, so I don't know about that anymore. But if you like that, and especially if that's important for your brand.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, so speaking of social media, and we've shared some tools that help you to manage your social media, right? Because as a small business owner, you cannot be sitting on these platforms all day long. No one can. I hope not. So, social media images are very important. It's very vital. There's been statistics that show that you get more engagement and more reach when you have a really great image or visual to go along with your content. And what is a great tool for small business owners, Jose?
Yeah, so Canva. I hope every small business owner knows about Canva. It's an amazing platform. It's very low cost. I think it's less than $20 a month, but it gives you the ability of having a much bigger team when you're a solopreneur. And you can go from not knowing anything about design, anything about social media or templates, to actually putting out pretty good content just using the templates that they have in stock already, where you literally just drag and drop your image, your product or service, and change the text to your address. And there's like an unlimited amount of templates for anything that you may use: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn. It makes it really, really easy to have a professional look to do it. And then there's a lot of resources as well on the back end of Canva. So if you're trying to develop your brand from the initial spot, the colors that you should use, the fonts that you should use, what colors should you stay away from, it has all those resources available. And there's a Facebook community too, where it's different people that use it and they share how they use Canva as well. And you can pick up a lot of really good content and tools and just be more creative and a little out of the box unique with the tool as well if you want to go deeper. So even if you're at the very intro level of design, you don't really know what you're doing, it's a great tool. But even as a seasoned designer, it makes your job so much easier sometimes when you can just develop templates, give them to whoever is going to be updating new products and services, and it's just allowing them to be consistent, right, with their social media posting.
No, I love that. And I've been a Canva user for probably 10 years now, and I've seen how they've improved over the last decade. It's really robust and it can make you look like a great designer. I want to give a shout out though to Jose who creates the templates for us for Impact Hub Houston. That makes it super easy for me to just drop in a new image and things like that. And so
I was just going to throw something in there, because also something Canva just added was you can actually post from Canva too now and schedule from Canva.
Mhm.
So like you could do that all in one too, if it's, if it's works for what you're trying to do. So Canva has that as well, which I think is really helpful. Also, you can print from there. I've done that. I've sent things to get printed from there.
Yes, on the fly, I've created flyers and things, PDFs for my clients as well, and sent it off to Office Depot, and it's great quality for print. So
And video too. Video, they're
Yes,
really
that's true.
stepping into the short form video. So it's they're essentially trying to be their own Adobe Creative Suite, I think. But
And no, we're not getting paid by Canva.
No, we're not.
We're
But-
just advocates.
Yeah. And for nonprofits, and
It's free.
yeah, it's free for nonprofits. So you get this really robust tool for free. You just fill up a form, and I think in a week or two they get back to you and give you that.
And I guess I should say I am an affiliate for them, but I didn't give you guys the link, so it doesn't matter. I would just say go get it.
Absolutely. There's a free trial version if you want to check it out. But definitely, as Jose mentioned, it is not an expensive tool and well worth paying. I think it's like $15 a month now, 12 to
Something
$15
like that.
a
It's
month.
under $20.
Yes,
for sure.
it's under $20.
Yeah.
What's that? It's very inexpensive, and it's worth paying for because you're able to easily resize things.
One other thing. Also, if you are paying for it, you're getting those a whole library of photos as well. You have to be careful
Yes.
about what you use for you just make sure you have the rights on there. It says very clearly what the rights are, but yeah, that's really helpful too. And even if it's on the free version, you can pay for like them $1 each or something. So
Mhm.
it's pretty cool.
Yeah. So, yeah. And there are other tools out there that are Canva like, and I personally have tried them, and I've always gone back to Canva just because of the ease of use. Speaking of different social media channels, there's one that's really should be mentioned and really is not off the top of a lot of people's minds, and they may not be familiar with it. Cam, you want to share a little bit about Google My Business?
Sure. Google My Business is amazing. So it is free also. And if you aren't signed up for Google My Business, you are missing something, because basically, and I know a lot of people that work from home and don't have like a storefront are worried about signing up for Google My Business because they're like, I don't want to put my home address on Google My Business, because that's one of the first things they ask. But what we had a guest at Social Media Breakfast a couple of months ago, and she explained that you can actually put it in and then take it out. So you don't have to have your address on there. So I do, if you go to SMB HOU, which is Social Media Breakfast HOU.com, SMBHOU.com, you can find that particular a session on Google My Business. And she goes step by step through how to do it. It's a really, really helpful. And yeah, I really, really highly recommend it. And by the way, that is built on something called Searchy.io. So if you can't find it, Searchy is another tool that I use to actually as a website. You'll see that. And you can search for it. So you can just search for Google My Business and you'll find it instantly in the top bar. But that is like really a no-brainer, because when people are searching for a business like yours in the area where you're at, and she explains that you can put several different towns and cities and stuff. So check it out, because they'll find you, and they'll find somebody else if they don't find you. So I would suggest you put yourself there. You can also do a blog there. You can put events on there. You can even make a small website there for yourself if you don't have one for your business. So it's a nice free way for you to kind of get all of those things in one place. And Google, hey, it's the doorway to the world.
Thank you for mentioning that about having a landing page or a website, right? Because even if you don't have the resources to have a full-blown built-out website, you've got to have a home somewhere that is not social media, because social media, as we all know, is rented land. I know Zuckerberg's not going to do away with Facebook or Instagram tomorrow, but if it does happen, then you still have to have a way for folks to find you. And who's the largest search engine like in the world? Would it not make sense for you to be on Google somewhere with Google My Business or Google Sites?
Yes. So Google Sites, speaking about Google, we discovered this maybe like 2 years ago, and it's where I sent everybody for their initial site. So if you buy your domain through Google Domains, which is on average about $12 for the year, it comes with a free website, which is great. And you can actually make that pretty robust. So it's also kind of like Canva, drag and drop. You drag your title, you change the title, you drag a YouTube video. It uses all the Google tools. So if you have a Google form, you can drag that form there and it updates to a spreadsheet on your Google, on your site, and people fill in their information, name, email, contact information, whatever you need for your business. If you have a video about your business, you upload that to YouTube, you drag that video from YouTube to your site, and now you have a landing page video. And you can edit the colors and everything as well to do it with fonts. And if you use Canva, you can actually create background images that Google doesn't have and bring those to Google sites. And now your website looks like something that you maybe built on WordPress or Squarespace, but it's being on the Google sites. And you're still, $12 for the year. You just pay for the domain. And I've actually even, for some business clients, I've asked them to move their domain from like GoDaddy or from somewhere else to bring it to Google so that you can get access to the free website. It's a great tool, and you can go to, if you Google a Google site examples, you can see how other people built their sites, and you can just copy exactly what they did, but with your information, and it makes your website look really nice.
I love that. And thank you for, I had no idea that this existed out there, right? Google Sites, because I was thinking of Google My Business and the landing pages that are available in there. And the fact that you can buy a domain through Google and the price is comparable for any other domain site like Hover or GoDaddy or anything like that. But now you've got this free tool attached to it. So that
Domains.google.
Domains.google.
Yeah,
Awesome.
that's what you type in your search bar at the top, and it'll come in and you type in whatever you're looking for, and it'll tell you if it's available or if it's not, or a different, you can buy the .com, the .org, the .us, the .whatever.
I'm going to
different
have to
ones.
try it out
I
this
know.
afternoon.
The other thing that's cool about that, I love this. Thanks, Jose, because it's such a great thing. You can try concepts there. So as entrepreneurs, we're always like concepting. It's such a great way to do a concepting thing, and you can get your URL back, right? You can get your domain back from them. It's like at the end of it, if you want to move somewhere else. Yeah. Okay, cool. See, that's important too. Yeah.
On the domain conversation, we actually, so sometimes me and Michelle will have an idea about a business or a project, and let's go reserve the website real quick because it's like $12. Now, granted, I have tons of like domains that are like, oh man, this is about to expire. I haven't actually done this. Yeah. But it's a good way to, you can have something simple set up so you can send somebody there to the idea that you did have.
I love it. Yes.
I
because,
have over 20 domains
yeah,
at
I'm a
hoover.com. So
domain
if anybody would
holder.
like to do some domain shopping with me, come on over. You and I think are the same person, but in different
I'm a
skin.
domain hoarder as well. Is there a support group for us?
I have as many domains as I have open tabs. I'm kidding.
Exactly. That's what we're going to host an Impact Hub Houston domain swap day.
That's funny.
Swap meet. That would be so cool. That would be. I need this domain. Come on over. So no, we've moved. We've talked about attracting folks with social media and ads, and we segued into the sites because that's where you're going to be able to collect leads or just have them sign up for your newsletter, right? So I know we start talking about leads and everybody's like, wait, I'm not a sales team, or I don't have this funnel, I don't need needs. But you absolutely need to have these sites and be able to collect at least emails for a newsletter. And you guys talked about forms, so do you want to share
It's
a little bit
amazing.
more about how to make that work for collecting
Leads,
just
yeah,
emails?
absolutely. First of all, I love what Jose just said because it's free. If you have a Google site, you can just put in a Google form, and you can do that on a regular website too. Any website, you can embed a Google form, thing so people can fill it out. To me, that's really, really a quick way. If you're under like say 100 people that you're talking to, it makes it very simple for you to take that and then put it into some sort of email program. And then, from there, I mean, honestly, the first email program, and I love it very much, is MailChimp. I still use it for social media breakfast. It's a free up to 2,000 leads. And you can actually connect things like, but that's very much more technical. There's actually, a lot of ways you can do that too. So we'll get to that later, but Zapier, Zapier. And then another one that I love now called Pabbly, which is like coming up in a major way as a competitor to Zapier, and they are amazing. So for those of you who are more advanced, what's cool is you can, with Pabbly or Zapier, you can get that form in there and then have it sent it to MailChimp for you. Pabbly, Pabbly. Oh, it's such a great tool, guys. I mean, and they're a lot cheaper. They don't have as many costs for the connections. Anyway, really, really good tool. Anyway, back to email, which is really important. Once you have them in your email autoresponder, then you can put together sequences, you can get back to people. I use ConvertKit as well for my business side of things. It's a little better with segmenting, and they have landing pages just like MailChimp. So when I say landing pages, it's kind of like the Google site. It's a place where somebody can land and like buy a product or whatever. And the other thing that ConvertKit has added recently is payments. So you can actually sell your product on ConvertKit now too. So if you're selling informational products or a product, you can set up your Stripe and everything in there and just go to town. They never have to leave that area. So I do love ConvertKit for that. So yeah, those are the two I use: MailChimp and ConvertKit. ConvertKit's just a little bit more expensive and a little bit more, and I say expensive, it's $25 a month. It's not super expensive. So yeah.
It's definitely more robust.
It is.
But although MailChimp has improved over
It
the years,
has.
I've been a long time user of MailChimp. I've noticed that they are evolving into a marketing platform similar to what HubSpot is, but more.
It's just as your numbers get higher, you need to look like, where are you trying to go? Like, do you want to go to 5,000, 10,000? Well, MailChimp gets very expensive at that price point. Whereas if you go to ConvertKit, it's a lot cheaper. So at the lower price, at the smaller number of leads, it's cheaper on, say, a MailChimp. But once you pass 2,000 and beyond, it could be a lot cheaper on another program. And there's other ones too, but these are just the ones I use.
Yeah, just the very basics to start off with, right? And the MailChimp does integrate easily with your social media channels too, as far as collecting the email addresses. So you can integrate it easily without having to have a lot of technical knowledge or having to know how to use Zapier, because I still haven't even figured out Zapier after a decade.
I use it. I use it daily. But
do you know if MailChimp integrates with Google Sites?
So they're heavy on using their own
stuff.
products.
So Google Forms probably.
So it'll be a Google Form. So it'll be a little bit more time consuming, but it's free. So for just starting off your business, I would still say you use that so you can understand what happens, because then you can move on to a software that automates it for you, but you understand what's going on in the back end and how this software is helping you out.
Yeah. So if I'm not a Google business like email user, right, I have access to it because I am a Google business and I have access to the Drive and all this stuff. So if I'm not using a Gmail for and don't use mybusiness@gmail.com, use your own domain, please.
Yes.
It lends a little credibility to it. So is there a way for them to go ahead and pay for this I guess suite of products through Google if they use Outlook or another email client?
Yeah. So if you buy your domain through Google, which is about $12 a year, depending on the word, but most of them will be about $12 a year, you can pay an additional $6 a month to have. So if my business is XYZ, right? So it will be info@xyz.com, and that sends me about $6 a month, and I get the entire Google Business suite as well. And it's very robust, and they're always continuing to add. I don't think I've scratched the surface really of what all is offered, because there's so much that is there.
Yeah. And I mean, just throwing that in, they also have Google Voice. So, and I use that daily. I mean, that's my phone number is Google Voice. So, and that's a free way for people to call you. So I just, yeah, I mean, Google has kind of wrapped this market up a little bit. So you can do everything inside of Google if you want to.
Yeah, absolutely.
And yeah, good pricing.
Yes, it is again, budget friendly for a small business owner, right? I've used the Google Business Suite for a decade as well too. So now we've attracted our community and leads and prospects, and we've collected their general, information and way for us to reach out to them. What are the next steps after this to follow up with our community?
Wow. Okay. So follow-up is like a really important part of this, right? So you get a bunch of leads in there. I've heard this problem. By the way, this is a common problem. People will collect a bunch of leads and then they'll sit on them and they'll be like, I don't know what to do. Should I send out an email? What should I do? And then, 6 months down the line, they send out an email and they're like, who? Like, what? Like, I don't know, remember doing that. I mean, I don't remember what I eat for breakfast sometimes. So, people are just short attention spans. I'm not saying you couldn't like rewarm that list up, but for heaven's sakes, make sure you tell people who you are in your emails. I get a lot of emails from people that say, hey, da 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 da. I'm like, who is this? Like, what is this? So they aren't going to remember who you are even 5 minutes after. One of the biggest problems we're having right now, and we'll talk about that here in a minute when we do the demonstration, is getting people to, once they sign up to, you have to go in and, press yes, I want to verify your email. I mean, that's really hard to get people to verify their email. They'll sign up for something and then they're like,
wait, I don't want to do this extra step.
There's too many steps. But the reason we do that is because there's just too much spam out there and people that will sign up for your list in a spammy way. And I've actually, if you've ever waded through a list to delete a bunch of people that like signed up for your list that are literally robots, you will know why you have to have that verify piece there. I've done that. So that's really important. So you need to, give them content. You need to give them something that shows them what you are doing. One of the things you talked about, Jose, was video. Video is so easy. You can just, pull out your camera now with things like TikTok and Instagram Reels and stuff. You can make really powerful videos. And that is like a great video editing program, right? It's an amazing video editing program that's right in your phone. I've also used one that I like called Pictory.ai, like Pictory.ai, and you can actually upload videos to there and edit them using text. You don't even know how to edit things. You just, take things, pieces out and put them in. You can throw some photos up into Pictory.ai and turn them into like little slide things with your voiceovers. Pretty cool program. It's a little bit like Descript. There's another one called Descript that's similar, but I like Pictory.ai. It's got a lot of really cool features.
Yeah, I've used Descript and it was okay.
Yeah.
It was not a
yeah,
I used
Pictory
it just for transcription.
Pictory is pretty cool, and it does transcribe as well. So, having some videos and putting those in there, and then being personable, sending out emails, inviting people to like come back to you. What's cool about both MailChimp and also ConvertKit is you can set it up where they can actually send back emails to you. And I prefer that. I know a lot of people say, this is a dead email, don't reply. And I'm like, you are just killing your marketing. Because really as small business owners, especially, we're trying to connect and get people to talk to us. So if you do conversational emails that are more about getting them to talk back to you than selling, then guess what? Two things. Number one, your overall open rate will go way up because the tools trust you, so they're going to deliver your stuff better. And secondly, you're going to build those relationships, and then when you are selling something, they're more likely to buy it. Simple as that. So I don't know. What do you think?
Absolutely.
Yeah, and then so you have to send videos and information, but sometimes an entrepreneur is like, okay, I get that, but what do I put on there? Like, what should the video be
Yeah, you
about,
should
or
say,
what is that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I always like to. I love the face that the entrepreneur makes when I make them realize that, to study their own habits. I'm like, when you're on social media, what makes you actually press buy, or what makes you actually go to the website? What type of content was that? So I get them to just practice to kind of note down when, like, oh, I actually just spent 15 minutes on this person's like profile. Why? Like, what was it that really attracted you? And take note of that, because that's content that really works. So
Mhm.
for a lot of entrepreneurs, they're creating a product or a service that they needed in the first place, right? So they needed it so much that they're like, well, nobody out there is doing it the right way. I'm going to create it. So then I'm like, think about your problems. What are the things, and make content about that. Explore the questions that you have, explore the needs in the market that you saw, and just, either write it out. I mean, sometimes there's content sometimes where it's literally, there's a phone on somebody's notepad and they're just writing out different things, and people watch that. And I think it's also important to note that the majority of video is consumed on silent. So make sure that you do have the text that is reading it, because sometimes we're just, I mean, it could be people in this meeting flickering through their phone and like, oh, okay, yeah, this is going on, but I'm busy here and I want to understand what's going on in the context. Correct. No. Yeah.
You should start a business.
Well, the cool thing, and I'm glad you brought up the caption, right? A lot of the social channels now have auto generated captions. It's, I'd say 95% or so correct. So I love that. So it automatically does that without you having to do anything else. But absolutely, if you're going to do static video where you've recorded something, absolutely remember to add the captions, because you're right. I'm watching at night, right? I don't want a whole lot of noise going on. I just want to read it.
Where all my kids in my family are asleep. So stop putting your audio out at me. It's interesting too. This is an example from last night. I was sitting and going through my phone, and I was listening to a podcast, and I was going through, and I saw this kind of interesting ad. It's about this thing you blow into it, and it tells you what fat content you're burning. And so I don't know. They were definitely coming after middle-aged women for sure. And I was like, ooh, you can find out that. And I thought that was really cool. But it was like playing this music that was overshadowing my podcast. I'm like, shh, shh. I'm like, what is that? Where's that coming from? It was just some music that was playing in the background. And I get what they were doing, but they did do one thing right. They had their captions going across it, but I was like, oh gosh, I need to like find the mute button on this thing. So yeah, it's really important that you think about that. Like, how are people consuming your content? And keep it short and sweet, and make it really interesting. Like you can either entertain or solve a problem, or something like that. Usually they don't care too much about you unless it actually is pertaining to them. You can tell a story, but only if they learn something from it, right? For
Yep.
them.
Yep, absolutely. It's always about your community,
Mhm.
not about you. And I appreciate what you had said about Jose, about thinking about your own habits, right? Because that's exactly the example I use in my workshops. I'm like, think about what you do when you're scrolling, and what makes you stop and look at something. And so that's absolutely great advice.
Yeah, and then taking it like way back when we were in like grade school, there was always that time that you wanted to ask a question, but you were just maybe a little too shy or too embarrassed, and then somebody else raised their hand and asked the question. You're like, oh, thank God, because I didn't want to be the person that asked it, but you really wanted to know what they had to say.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing for your social media. Ask questions, because there's a huge probability that somebody else had that exact question. You just provided the exact content that they needed for a problem that they also had.
Yeah.
So the majority of people are just too, I mean, that's why we're on social media, right? Because we don't want to ask the questions publicly, but our social media is private. So we can, the content we
exactly.
consume, for the most part, nobody
So good.
like gets to see it, but you search for the questions that you've been asking.
Yeah, and there's so many lurkers. Lurkers are everywhere. Like, how many of you are lurkers? I know you're a lurker.
I lurk.
Yeah, and I mean, it's
In a good way.
Yeah,
Yeah, not
exactly.
stalkers.
So there's
Orphans.
a few people raise their hands inside of here. And actually, it's funny you say that because I was at the high school open house the other night, and all the kids were lined up after one of the teachers, and we're going to ask her a question, and mine was one of them. And we were waiting in the line, and the person before us asked a question, and I guess it was the question that that my daughter wanted to know, and yeah, so she just walked out the door. She's like, and the teacher's like, "Hey, don't you have a question?" She goes, "No, you just answered it." Bye. So I think that's normal. Yeah, that's a
Yes,
really
that
good
is
point.
normal. No, this has been a great conversation about tools. I hope you all have gotten some great tips, and everyone out there in the live stream verse as well. If you have any questions, make sure you drop it into the comments because we're going to get to questions here shortly. I did want to make one other comment about MailChimp, right? You mentioned about how making sure you send out emails. One of the things that I've heard from my clients over and over is they respond and buy something from a salesperson because the emails sound like it's from a friend. It doesn't sound like it's corporate speak.
So
It
good.
doesn't sound like,
So good.
hey,
Yeah.
buy my thing, right? It sounds like it comes from a friend and they're there to help. And the help happens to be this solution. So that's one thing. But also on MailChimp now, if you notice when you follow up or you set up these auto replies, it allows you to reply from MailChimp directly. So you have a CRM of sorts in one place.
That is true.
For this specific person. And if you don't have additional resources to invest in a CRM, this is a great way to know what's been communicated with your prospects. I did want to bring that.
That is such a good point. And another thing I was going to say is that on that website I told you about, smbhou.com, I actually have a little link there where you can sign up for social media breakfast emails. That is the MailChimp thing. So if you want to see what it looks like, it's smbhou.com. You can see it there. And we send out like one email or two emails a month, just reminding you of the meeting, which is here at Impact Hub. Thank you.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
So, and I know, Jose, you've got some resources to share with folks who want to outsource some of this, right? Because again, you're a small business owner, you're wearing all the hats and you may not have the time to do all these things.
Yeah, absolutely. Some people, as much effort as they'll put forward, they're just not going to be a good designer, and that's perfectly fine. Their time should be focused on developing their product and service, which is the main way that the business will continue to grow. So when you're faced with the reality, you have to outsource some of this work to somebody else, and this can be anything: your social media, your mail, even some of your business like back end stuff like your financing and your accounting and all these other different things. There's a lot of really good resources out there for a lot cheaper than one may think. To be honest, there's a lot of really good quality. So one of them is Fiverr. So it's fiverr.com. You find everything you need for a business there, except the entrepreneur. That has to be you.
That's you.
Yeah. But there's really good quality work. Tips on that: just go for the person that has the highest star rating and the highest number of uses. I wouldn't advise you to spend a lot of money on somebody that is just starting out that service. Go with somebody that's already pre-qualified, and you can get really good. Like if you need a brand kit, you can get it for sometimes like $20 to $50. Like you can get something really good and just use that. Or for myself, sometimes I'm just like stuck on an idea and I don't really know how to develop this. I'll spend $20. I'll send it to 4 different designers and they charge me $5 each. And I just use that for just ideas, right? I'm like, here's what I'm trying to figure out. I want to see what your brain does with this information. And then I'll take little bits and pieces from that. And I'm like, that's what I needed. So it's a really good cost. And then locally here in Houston, there's a Facebook group called Houston Freelance Creatives. There's several thousand creatives in that group. It's people that live here in the greater Houston area. So if you actually want to meet somebody face to face for coffee or something, you can actually hire somebody off there. Just make sure you know what the project is, your timeline, and what your budget is, and you'll find somebody there. Sometimes, even under $100, you can get something really, really good developed with somebody locally that you can actually be working side to side with them. Because on Fiverr, it's probably going to be somebody in South America or on the other side of the world, and you can't really, access them. The other thing is colleges and universities in the area. They're student organizations. These are students that are desperate to build out their portfolio. They need work because when they graduate, they need to show examples that they know how to do marketing work, or they know how to do whatever, photography, graphic design. So it's a low cost resource, and there's really good talent in the local colleges and universities, and they'd be more than happy to. Essentially, it turns into an internship, with you. So reach out to the colleges and universities. There's always some page that says student organizations, and go to the one that is relevant to you. Like U of H has a University of Houston American Marketing Association. They have a PR group. They have a business organization. So somebody in those organizations is running creative or marketing, and that's a great opportunity, especially if you have a really good product or service. It's a great opportunity for the student to real life practice with real products with real money, because this is essentially a case study that they're going to get in class, so they can add that to their portfolio of what they did.
No, I love it. And
This
if
sounds
you-
like a good project to like pull all these together and make them a resource for Houston. Anyway.
And
so
Cami,
thought.
you have a recommendation for that too. You use
Yeah,
other
I've used
platforms.
Upwork, which is similar to Fiverr. And I also have been talking to this company called buzzcube.io, BUZZCUBE, like buzzcube.
Cube with a regular
Cube.
C and not a Q.
Yeah, just a regular C. Cube.io. And what they do is you pay them a blanket price, like I don't know, I can't remember what it was, $600-700 a month, and they just do unlimited design work for you for the month. So it's kind of a cool thing if you can kind of work it through. It kind of depends on you though, right? Because you got to give them the things to do. So yeah, if you're like doing a lot of stuff, that might be a way to go. But yeah, Upwork is great if you want to work with somebody long term that is like sort of could be in another country or could be in the US. I did find a person in the US, and she became my tech person for a very long time. Crystal was amazing. And we worked together for, I don't know, like 2 years before she went on to like other things. So it was a great way to work with her. And she lived in California at the time. And so, yeah, US based or otherwise, Upwork is a great way. And you can really also shift by star ratings and how long they've been working and how much money they've made on the platform. So you sift it out. But it's an amazing platform as well,
Yeah.
Upwork.
No, absolutely. And while these are budget friendly, right, you still have to be
Yes.
mindful of, as you mentioned, looking at the reviews and the minis and things, because at the end of the day, you still do get what you paid for. So have to be mindful of that. No, this has been a great conversation. You guys have shared so many tools and tips and tech. And if you're tuning in out there on our social media channels, if you have any questions, please feel free to drop them in the comments. And anyone here in person, do you guys have a question? I promise I won't put you on screen or anything.
Or an idea.
Yeah, my question is, if I have a website that, because you mentioned about we can, like, I already bought from GoDaddy and I wanted to like use the Google. How would that happen?
So if you've already bought a domain, how would you get it over to Google?
Yeah, so it's called transferring the domain. So yeah, I know. No, it takes about the process. The process will take you on the computer 10 minutes. Then it takes about 2 weeks for GoDaddy. So you have to do 2 steps. One step is on Google Domains. The other step is on GoDaddy. You have to release it. And then once that's released, you go to Google Sites and you transfer it into the domain. If you Google transfer domain from GoDaddy to Google Sites, there's step-by-step instructions on YouTube or on forums as well. It happens all the time to them. So somebody's already explained it really step-by-step. But
If you go to domains.google, there's a link that says transfer domain already.
Yeah.
Click on that, it will walk you through the process.
So if you go to domains.google, there's at the bottom something that says transfer your domain. You click that and it shows you the instructions on how to transfer your domain from whether you bought it on Squarespace, on HostGator, or all the different places. Yeah, how to bring it in.
I know. I have to remember where I have all the domains.
I know. I moved
Sometimes.
everything to Hover because if you have them all in one place, you can often get a discount.
Yes, I've tried to
So-
move everything over to Hover as well. I still have a couple, I think at GoDaddy that they send me
HOVER.com. It's just another domain.
another place to buy domains.
Sign everything again.
Place to
I
buy
signed
domains.
up right now with GoDaddy,
Yeah.
and then I have to transfer, so I have to like really sign everything.
Oh, you actually use GoDaddy's Hosting tools. Okay, yeah, because GoDaddy does have tools as well. You can put up a website there as well. I mean, it just depends on what you want. I mean, if you like that website, you can stick with that. You don't have to change it, you know,
Yeah, exactly.
the integration of the things. Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah. I understand. It's always hard to move.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Any
Jose can help you.
questions? I know Jose. Hire Jose.
Yeah. I'll show you some examples after some of the
Yeah,
things that we've done.
Absolutely. I know we've covered a lot today, and I know that we have future plans for more in-depth lunch and learns to go through, say, like how to use Canva, right? It's been an hour to do that, but we wanted to give you guys a good overview of some basic tools and tech to start off with at the bare minimum. Any other questions from the room?
What are your top 3 tools? So if you know a foundational tech stack for anybody starting.
So what are your top 3 tools for a basic stack to start with?
Right off the back, for sure, Google. So using my my website, basing it on Google, Canva, and then what's the third? Probably HubSpot as well, because they have free a free platform. Everything has a trial, and if you're just starting off, all those 3 will give you something very robust for a very low price, and they're platforms that continue to innovate yearly.
Yeah, you want to be careful you pick tools that won't go away, right? So, I mean, we haven't talked about WordPress, but I do love a WordPress website. I have one. So I'd say WordPress for me, with definitely Canva, and also let's see. Oh, and also ConvertKit for an email program. Those 3 together pretty much are good for, like, I'd say medium, small, a little bit, not beginning, but like maybe a little bit more. You've been in the game for a little bit longer, like say 2 to 3 years.
One additional tool. I know you said top 3, but I'm gonna say YouTube, because literally, if you don't understand how something works and you want the best tips in the world, just Google, YouTube it. Some industry
There is a
professional
tutorial out there for
has
everything.
done that and explains to you bit by bit exactly what you need to do with real results. So yeah, YouTube University would be the other.
Yeah. And as you said, it's the second largest search engine in the world because it's owned by Google.
Yes.
Okay. It probably is.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's crazy. So, I mean, and even, yeah, you can find anything on YouTube, really. Somebody's done it already. Truly.
Exactly. So my stack, I'm going to say WordPress as well. I love WordPress. And if you are working with WordPress, I do encourage you not to do the WordPress.org because it's still rented land, right? And go ahead and get your own domain, get it hosted and use WordPress. I personally like WP Engine for hosting, and because they take care of all the security stuff for you and they scan every month for you. So I don't even have to think about it. And then, of course, for email, I use MailChimp. And then for social media management, I use Agora Pulse. So those are my top 3 tools.
Have 3 different tech stacks for each of you. Is there, I don't know if we have time.
3 different tech stacks, yeah.
Why? How did you choose the tools that you did?
Why did we choose the tools we did?
Well, for me, social media management is a huge part of my business, right? And then I've got clients who ask for advice about WordPress or websites all the time, and they don't want to have to deal with contacting a web developer every time they need to make a simple update or something. And WordPress is super, well, not super, but it is easier to use for somebody who is not a developer. I am not a developer, and I, have not broken anything yet so far. So, or broken anything that couldn't be fixed in WordPress. And then the email thing has always been super important because you've got to have a way to contact and reach folks that are outside of the social media realm. Oh, I've tried ConvertKit for my own needs. And that's a great question, Grace. Grace asked why we have such different tech tools, right? There's so many tools and tech out there, and don't be afraid to try something, right? Because it boils down to personal kind of really preference. Because I did try ConvertKit for a while. It was much more than what I needed. And so I stuck with MailChimp. I have tried Constant Contact, and eye contact and all the other contacts out there. So don't be afraid to try something, do the trial and see if the user interface and the experience is easy enough for you. So don't be afraid to do that as well. And also one last tip, and I think all three of us could agree on this, is just to start off, just do it, right? Start. Don't be afraid. Pick one or two tools that are absolutely what you need. Focus on that, and then add to the stack as you go along. You don't have to have a stack of 3 to 4 to 5 tools for your business.
Oh wait, yeah. Okay, so you said 3, and honestly, you can't even imagine how many tools I have. I've got so many tools because I'm kind of that kind of person. I like to try things out and make them work. And so I didn't even mention a social media management tool because our clients often make us use theirs, right? So because we work with enterprise level clients, and so that's gone through all of their different pieces. But we do use Content Studio, but my team is doing that now, which is really nice, right? So I don't even think about it anymore somewhat. But the reason I started with WordPress is because, I've been in this game a long time, and there was no such thing as like a Google site back then. There was maybe a Wix as we came along, and there were problems with it. It wasn't as configurable. I couldn't have as much control. I'm a control freak when it comes to my tools and my online marketing. And so for me, that's why WordPress, and WordPress came from Houston. So I always felt very, warm and fuzzy with the WordPress. So that, and then for ConvertKit and not MailChimp, again, I'm using both of them. So MailChimp is still running Social Media Breakfast, but for my company, for my business, as I've gone out and branched out to do Smart Social Secrets and Smart Social Mastery and all of these online training programs, it's much more, I don't know, I can slice and dice the data and the people. Yeah, it really is. It's made for creators. And like writing a sequence is really awesome because you just go in and you type up one email, and then right below it, you type up the next email, and then you type, it's makes it really easy, and you can move them around. I just liked it.
And we're going to have Cami back one day to do a more in-depth like sequence writing funnel.
Yeah, I'm writing and
the whole
sequences
thing,
and oh my
right?
gosh, yeah, funnels and yeah. So right now I'm actually right in the middle of putting together all this content around funnel building. So very excited about that.
Another thing to remember about your stack is I know we're talking about Canva a lot. Canva should pay a lot.
Here, I'm gonna bring this to you so people online can hear.
I was saying another thing to remember about your stack, and then I'm like, we're talking about Canva a lot. Canva should pay a lot of us for Canva. Really, we promote it, but Canva has a lot of integrations. And so when you go to that top right corner, because I do Canva workshops, like how to use it for business and podcasting and all that stuff. But when you drop down, you can connect it to Facebook, Pinterest, MailChimp. And when you were talking about video, you can edit videos in there. You can make a QR code. You can add a map in Canva. Yeah. Canva has so many things.
Has become so robust.
Yeah.
You can cut out the photos. You can take a photo and put it in there and cut it out.
Yes. Would take the background
take
out.
the background out.
So
The
you
stuff
don't have
that
to have no Photoshop.
Yeah, Photoshop. We love Photoshop. I've used it since college, so I love it. But oh my gosh, this is so much easier. So as long as you have some design skills, and that's the thing. You don't even really have to have them. You talked about there's templates, and you can change the colors and the fonts of those templates. But you also can hire Jose to make you a template. You know what I mean? And then just put your stuff in it over and over again. So yeah, those are really helpful, those templates.
No, thank you. Again, this has been a great conversation today. I hope that we have not overwhelmed you all with all these tools. Please don't feel overwhelmed. As we mentioned, we encourage you to just pick one or two to start with, focus on those, and grow your tool box of tools as your business grows. But at the very minimum, make sure that people are able to find you online somehow. So, because think again about your own activities, right? What do? You go and Google something before you ever even contact them. So thank you again to Cami and Jose for sharing all of your wisdom and experience and insights today. And we are going to do a quick demo for the Verizon Small Business Digital Ready program. And we encourage everyone to sign up. It's a set of free tools and modules for every topic under the sun that a business owner would need, from finance to setting up. I think you're setting up
Well, they had this whole course, like they have these mini courses inside of the Verizon platform that kind of give you an idea of how to do something. And it's not overwhelming. That's what I liked about it. It was quick. It's like, this will take you 20 minutes. I'm like, all right, well, I'll watch that. And that was this whole program about how to get designated as a woman-owned business, which for whatever reason I've never done, which is crazy, especially since I work with corporate partners. But yeah, so they made it sound really easy. I'm like, oh, okay. And then I was like, boom. I was like, okay. So I started the process. So I'm right in the middle of the process of getting that designation. So I don't know if I would have done it otherwise. So yeah, really good program.
Awesome. All right, I am gonna see if I can share this.
I'm gonna
I'm
move.
casting it, and I'm also sharing it. So hopefully, out there in StreamYard land, yes, yay, it's correct. All right, so we have a specific link for those of you who are going to the program from Impact Hub Houston. I believe we have a QR code that Michelle has that you can scan from your mobile, but I wanted to give you a quick demo of how easy it is to sign up for the Verizon Small Business Digital Ready program. I always have to say it very slowly because I want to make sure I say it correctly. And will you send me the link real quick?
Oh, yes.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Oh, no, that's okay. That's great if you're dropping it in there because then I can grab it. So here's the link if you guys are out there to sign up. And then, hold on. What is it? VZ. Here, you know what? Since it's, oh, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Is it?
I guess just put it close.
Okay, sorry. Here, hopefully we can hear this. Did you send it to me on Slack? Oh, okay, sorry. You know what I'm going to do? You know what I'm going to do? Because since I,
It's there on the homepage.
oh, it is.
Right there on the right. Level
Oh, duh. Okay, sorry. Okay, there we go. So their goal is to help 1 million small businesses move forward. So you'll go to that link that has been shared in the comments. Just click on register here because I have already signed in. So I'm going to use a different email address here real quick. Okay, they've sent me. So immediately they send you an email to verify that it's you. So go, please check your email and make sure that you go in there and click on the register now link in the verification email. And then it will take you to a different screen, which I got to go back and share. Hold on. Share screen. Is that it? Oops, I think this is it. Sorry, guys, bear with me for a second. Okay. Nope, that's not it. All right, sorry. Sharing the wrong screen for those of you out there. I'm sharing the wrong screen for those of you in the room as well. La, 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 la. I think let me just, nope. Chrome tab. Why is it not showing up? Uh-oh. Okay, there we go. Yay. Now I gotta share it online. Sorry, guys, bear with me. I need a producer. There it is. Right tab. Okay, cool. So then you'll fill out all this information, create a password, and I'm just gonna confirm your password, select a security question. Oh gosh, you're gonna see what my security question is. Oh, it doesn't show the answer. Awesome. That's a great icebreaker. What was the first live concert you attended? And then, of course, click on you agree to the terms and conditions, continue, and you have successfully registered. So it's just a few steps to successfully register. And then there's one more step, everybody, and that is continue and then go back to your email that you use to create the login and click on verify once again. And then once you're in here, I'm going to go ahead and sign in with my real account to show y'all what that looks like. And once you're in here, you can complete your business profile, your business name, your category, your address. Here's the super important part. What kind of online tools are you currently using for your business? You can choose all the tools that you're using or none of the tools that you're not using. And it just gives the system an idea of what you're looking for to give suggestions and recommendations for the courses. So the modules in this program are very short. They're about 30 minutes long because, again, we're all small business owners and don't have a whole lot of time to spend on training, even though we may need it, or professional development, right? And then there's this part here that shows what would you like to learn about, where you can choose what you want to learn: business structure, access to sources of funding. You can choose one. You have to select up to 3. And it prompts you on all these things. And so I identify with the following groups. And one of the cool things is because I identified with Asian-owned business and the women-owned business, it allowed me access to a forum for both of these groups where you can connect and network with folks. And then just some additional questions. And again, you can, complete the profile at your discretion, but do remember to go back into your email and click on the second verification. And then once you've created your profile, here are the courses you can look up. Here are the recommended ones because of what I chose. Getting Certified, Paths for Minority Business, awesome, Digital Defense, an Intro to Cybersecurity. Even though you're a small business owner and you think nobody's going to ever hack me, guess what? Small business owners are the ones that are hacked most often, actually. So, and so these are all the recommendations, and then you can just choose. And as I mentioned, the courses, the modules are about, here's one that's 36 minutes, 37 minutes. So you're not going to be spending hours and hours in one module. So there you go, folks. It's super easy to register your profile. Just remember to verify your email address so that it completes the registration. And if you have any questions about the Verizon Small Business Digital Ready program, we will be sending more information on social media with the Impact Hub, Impact Hub Houston social media. So if you've not followed us, and then of course we'll be including in our monthly newsletters and additional resources too. And of course, we're always here to answer any questions. So feel free to contact us and we'll answer any questions that you may have about the program. And another great reason to actually register your business and your profile, they will be announcing additional grants for the rest of the year. So if you are looking for funding for your small business, Verizon, this program, exactly. They mean it when they said they're looking forward. They were wanting to move small businesses forward, 1 million small businesses forward, and you need money to do so, right? So definitely a great idea to get registered on the platform. It's completely free. So what do you have to lose? So thank you everyone for tuning in today and joining us for this Lunch and Learn with Tech Tools and Tips. Thank you for everyone who's joined us in person. Stay tuned to the newsletters and social media channel for future tech tools and tip sessions. Everyone have a great weekend.